Hey, podcasters, today I want to share with you some of the strategies Starbucks use to become the biggest coffee company in the world that you can actually apply to your podcast to grow your audience and become more successful. So, coffee, my favorite beverage. Yes, I drink more coffee than water probably, which I'm working on. But a nice hot cup of coffee can energize you, rejuvenate you, and put you in the right headspace to record a killer podcast episode. Now, I'm reading a book called Onward by Howard Schultz that is a great memoir that talks about how Starbucks grew to be the biggest coffee company in the world. And they didn't just go straight to the top. There were trials and tribulations that he shares within the book. So if you're a fan of Starbucks or business in general, I highly recommend this book. But there was many pages that I highlighted where there were things that I thought I could share these principles with podcasters because they definitely directly apply to growing any business or podcast. So I want to share them with you today. So a few things you're going to learn in this episode today is why you need a system and how to build one, how to focus on the craft of your business, and of course, why you need to build a community, and a bunch more ear nuggets along the way. Now, if you like this episode, consider leaving a review. I read every single one, and it brightens my day almost more than a nice hot cup of coffee. So back to the episode here, Starbucks. Okay, how does Starbucks have locations all over the world, drinks in every cooler and every gas station, and can serve you the same exact thing every single time you order it, right? A consistent drink, a consistent treat. How do they do that? Well, because Starbucks has spent a lot of time developing their system. So the entire store runs on a system. They have checklists for how long coffee can sit in a drip brewer or how much ice to put in each cup, right? So they've documented everything along the way that it takes for them to make a cup of coffee, okay? So the same thing applies to McDonald's or any other restaurant where it's a chain and you go in and you get the same experience every single time. So how does this apply to podcasting? Well, the first thing that it applies to is simply you having your own internal system of how you produce a podcast. That means from starting with planning the episode to acquiring a guest to recording the episode to editing the episode to publishing the episode and promoting that episode. So my question to you is, do you have a system in place, or every single time you want a podcast, are you sort of just making it up as you go along? Well, the reason you may want to document this and just write out a little checklist or outline of what you need to do every single episode is that it's going to speed up your process. So you're going to be able to create more episodes, similar to how there can be a line around the block for Starbucks and you generally can get a cup of coffee or a drink in a few minutes, is because they've built a system in which they can create consistent and efficient coffee delivery to you over and over and over again. So they're able to serve more customers faster. So what I'm trying to impose on you here is that you can create more podcast episodes faster, right? Which gives you time to do other things. So having a system is it's going to be one of the things that's going to allow you to be consistent, release more episodes, and just have a better life balance as a podcaster. I know, because I'm a podcaster, how much work goes into each and every episode. And so I want to try to help make sure that you can still have fun with your friends, have hobbies, and do other things, and you don't get completely consumed by having to create a podcast episode every single week. Now, the next thing that stuck out to me in this book was how much Howard Schultz was focused on the actual craft of coffee. Everything from the exact bean that they wanted to purchase to how it was roasted to even training the baristas on how to make a perfect cup of espresso, like training 7,000 people to be able to make a perfect shot of espresso. So he was hyper-focused on the craft and making sure that they weren't just serving coffee, right? You can get coffee anywhere. And don't get me wrong, if you're a Dunkin' person and you don't like Starbucks, I totally understand. I think the principles still somewhat apply. So how much time are you spending on the actual craft of podcasting? Now, I think it's cool that some people just record a podcast and they put it out as is. That's totally fine. But if you spend a little time editing or maybe really consciously planning and crafting your episode, I think it shines above the rest of podcasts because you've put this extra effort into it. So doing things like spending, an hour perfecting your setup, right? Documenting the settings on your microphone and how you want your voice processed every single time so it's a consistent release is one way to craft your podcast. And that can go for a multitude of things. That could be for how you find guests. Are you going to find really great guests, or are you going to accept anybody on your podcast just so you can put out that next interview? So the craft portion really made an impact on me as far as when we're making things, having that passion to go a little bit deeper in every aspect of it will really make a huge difference. And Starbucks fans or Starbucks customers around the world are loyal. They will wait in the line around the block to get their favorite drink. They will, get the app and try to get points so they can get a free drink. The craft part of it actually creates a cultural phenomenon of loyal fans, right? And that's exactly what we want to do as podcasters. So, craft. I want you to think about how you can craft your next episode. Now, the third thing that really stuck out to me was that Starbucks was really focused at one point on transitioning from coffee shop to community. They wanted it to be a place where people meet and have meetings and conversations, and people come to do homework, and even people have conversations with the baristas. They spent a lot of time making sure that the espresso machines weren't too high so that there was eye contact between the person making your coffee and you while you were waiting for them to make that delicious whatever drink that you just ordered, okay? So community, a huge part of Starbucks, right? We've all met someone at Starbucks. It's the easiest place to go say, hey, I need to meet someone somewhere. Let's go to the Starbucks on the corner of 5th and Main, right? So it's a really cool thing to think about as far as building a community. And of course, if you're going to go meet somebody at Starbucks, what are you going to do? You're going to order some coffee. So I want you to think about community, right? Another thing that Starbucks does with community is they purchased a company called Ethos, and they give a portion of every sale of that water to children that don't have clean water. So that's a really great cause and a really great way that they're showing that they're giving back to the community as well as taking care of the people growing the beans that their coffee is made with. So think about community. How can you inject community into your podcast? Can you start a Facebook group where people can rally around one idea or method? Can you create some type of community where you're giving money to charity? We're raising money for charity together. Can you create a mastermind? Can you just simply name your group of podcast fans, right? Create a little tribe. Human beings, we want to be a part of something. It is biologically programmed into your brain that if you are not part of a community, you will be an outcast and you will die. Just like back in the day, you needed to have a group of people to hunt and gather with. If you got outcast from that group, you were going to be in big trouble. So by offering people a place to have a community with, they're going to biologically want to be part of something. So make yourself a community. And if you're looking for a community of like-minded podcasters, you can come to the Podcast Builder Club. It's my private Facebook group where we've got over 500 podcasters who are collaborating and networking, and it's a really safe place to ask questions and have fun. So I'm inviting you to my community. So those are the three things that this book really just made the connection from coffee to podcasting, the system, right? Developing your own system for every single episode where you could literally have somebody else do all the work because they know exactly each step to take and in which order. Your craft. A lot of the top podcasters are people who are spending a lot of time putting effort into the planning or writing. True crime is probably one of the biggest, most downloaded podcasts in the world, and those take a lot of crafting, the story, the interviews, putting things together in the right order. So think about how you can make little tweaks to craft your next episode. And of course, community, right? We know we need to be a part of a community, and we're more separated than ever. So people are looking for new places to connect with people. So start your own community. It may take time to build. Give yourself the grace to build it one person at a time. And by the time you're done, you're going to have hundreds of people in your group that are collaborating with you and networking with each other, and you'll have a safe space for people to be a part of your community. So again, the book that I was reading was Onward by Howard Schultz. It's actually called Onward: How Starbucks Fought for its life without losing its soul. But a lot of parallels to building a business, which a podcast, let's be honest, inevitably is a business, right? You have all these tasks that you need to take care of, and I want to make sure that you know that you're building a business, you're building a brand, you're building more than just a radio show on the internet. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe and go out there today and bring a friend a cup of coffee, sit on the front porch and just have a chat, right? Connect with someone you haven't connected with in a while over a nice hot cup of coffee, no matter which way you take it. Sugar, cream, black, the whole deal. It could be Starbucks, it could be Dunkin', it could be your favorite local coffee shop, but go ahead and connect with somebody that you haven't talked to in a while today. Rekindle that relationship and see where that heads. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. As always, your friend Travis here, aka The Question Dude, aka Young question mark, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.